Welcome to Beyond You, the podcast where we dive deep into healing, rediscovery, and the building the life you truly deserve. I'm Samantha, your host and guide on this journey. If you're ready to move past toxic relationships, reconnect with your true self, and create authentic connections, you're in the right place. We'll be having real conversations, sharing practical tips, and offering the kind of support that helps you just not survive, but thrive. Each week, we're unpacking how to heal from the past, rediscover who you are, and building a future that feels like you. So whether you're just starting your healing journey or been on the path for a while, let's do this together. Let's get started. Merry Christmas! Welcome to episode 9 of Beyond You podcast. If you're tuning in on Christmas Day, thank you for letting me be part of your holiday, whether you're listening between family gatherings, while you're sipping coffee by the tree, or just taking a moment to let yourself breathe. I'm so glad you're here. The holidays aren't always easy, especially if you're in the middle of healing while everyone else seems to be shouting joy to the world. You might be quietly wondering how to just get through this day. Today we're going to talk about finding peace and joy during the holidays, even when life feels messy, even when your heart is still healing, and even when the seasons look different than you imagined. So I want to dive into how to give yourself permission to feel what you feel, how to create moments of joy and peace on your terms, and how to protect your energy when the holidays bring a little too much of everything. So stick around because I'm also going to share a little bit about the Beyond You Collective that's coming out, a community I'm building to help you, especially professional women of color, to heal, rediscover themselves, and create a life that you truly love, but more on that later. So let's get into this. So I want to be real here because when it comes to the holidays, there's a way that things just start to amplify. I mean, everything seems to amplify. I mean, if you're in a good place, it feels like joy is everywhere. You're just welcoming everything that's coming in. But the music is louder, the lights are brighter, everything feels just magical. But if you're not in a good place, if you're heartbroken or just grieving, emotionally exhausted, the holidays can feel like an emotional minefield. Every song, every Instagram post, every commercial seems to remind you of what you're missing. There's a lot of pressure to perform happiness during this time of year. You're supposed to be cheerful and grateful for a full of holiday spirit, but what if you're not? What if this year feels heavy and you're just trying to make it through? And I get it because I've been there. There have been years, and even this Christmas in itself, where it's just a huge life change, and holidays felt like more like an obligation and not a celebration. And I find myself when scrolling through social media, seeing people post their perfect holiday photos, all I could think was, how do they do it? How do they seem so happy? Meanwhile, after going through what I've been going through, I told you in last episodes with the breakup and just changes, that I'm wrapping gifts crying because the silence in the house feels so loud and I don't have the boys yet, or just not sure exactly what I want to do for next year. So all these things are coming to mind. But the thing I learned about this year, I learned in general, is that the holidays don't have to look perfect to be meaningful. And if you're struggling right now, give yourself permission to take a step back from the pressure. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to feel a certain way. You don't have to meet anyone else's expectations but your own. But a lot of times we put so much control in other people's hands when it comes to what we feel like we should do versus listening to ourselves and what we actually want to do. So if you're trying to force yourself to feel better just because it's Christmas, please, we're going to let that go today. Okay? Healing does not stop for the holidays, and it's okay to feel what you're feeling. So I want you to think about, what would the holidays look like if you let go of perfection and focused on what you actually need? Like, really taking this time right now, thinking about what you feel, right? Is that joy? Is that sadness? Is that hurt? You're disappointed? Whatever that is, feel what you need to feel, and then think about what you need afterwards. Because I know how it is. You got the commercials, the holiday cards, Instagram posts. I get it. Like we talked about earlier, it all paints this perfect picture of the perfect Christmas, where everyone's smiling in matching pajamas and love is just pouring out of every corner. Meanwhile, you might be over here wondering if it's normal to cry while untangling Christmas gifts. Know that it's very normal. The holidays don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. You do not have to feel joyful 24/7 to have a good holiday. So if you're putting pressure on yourself to feel better just because it's Christmas, remember, letting that go. Healing does not stop for the holidays, and that's okay. Next, I want you to be able to think about on how you want to start redefining your peace. When I think about peace, especially during the holidays, a lot of us imagine this perfect calm, right? I know I felt like it was. The tree is decorated, kids are behaving, right? I'm putting quotation marks when I say this. Everyone's laughing and the house smells like cookies. Now, let's talk about what people are saying when it comes to this feeling of peace and peace on earth. And sometimes peace feels like this distant dream when life is chaotic. And for the longest time, I thought peace was something external. I thought it came from having everything in order, clean house, perfect schedule, no arguments, no drama. But you know what I realized? Peace isn't about outside world being calm. Peace is about creating calm inside yourself, even when everything around you feels messy. So this year I had a moment where I felt completely overwhelmed. The to-do list was just endless and things that had to get done. The kids, they're brothers, and my boys are about 26 months apart. They're arguing over, you can imagine that if you have more than one, you get when the arguments are and how that is. And I haven't even finished shopping it for everything. It just felt a lot. I could just feel the stress building, which just trying to get everything together. And I caught myself thinking, if I can just get everything done, I'll feel better. When really, instead of trying to power through, I had to pause. I made myself my little Starbucks, coffee thing I've been doing lately. I've been talking about. Sat down by half decorated tree and just let myself breathe. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to try to get it right all the time. Know that the do list will still be there. The kids will still be doing what they're doing. But for those 5 minutes, allowing yourself, I know for me, feeling this feeling of peace in the midst of everything, because a lot of things are out of our control. And if you had sessions with me or been in one of my memberships or programs, you know that we only can focus on what we can control in this moment. We cannot focus on the things we cannot control. So a lot of times I need you to be able to give yourself that time. And it could be you going to the bathroom break. It could be just going into another room. I think allowing yourself to feel peaceful, not because the chaos was gone, but just because you give yourself permission to step away from it all. Step away from the expectations or people needing something from you, which I know is exhausting. I get it. Here are a few ways I've been redefining peace for myself this season. First, I've been saying no without guilt. I've started saying no to things that drain my energy, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer. Your peace is more important than making everyone else happy, and I keep telling you guys this. Right? Keep the peace is nothing for you. Nothing. Everyone else feels good about themselves, feels good about you minimizing your voice or keeping quiet, but it is nothing for you. The world won't end if you skip a holiday party or leave early from a family gathering. Your peace is more important than anyone else's expectations. I'm going to say that again. Your peace is more important than anyone else's expectations. Number 2, I want you to find your quiet moments. For me, it's sitting by the tree with a cup of my homemade Starbucks coffee. After I get up in the morning, even if my day was chaotic, that little moment of stillness brings me back to myself. Maybe it's a walk outside for you. It could be a cup of tea before bed, or just sitting in the car for an extra 5 minutes. I feel like we all do this, right? Having to gather ourselves in our life when we go back into the house, especially when it's cold outside, before kind of going inside. So find those little pockets of peace and protect them. Please, you have to be able to protect your peace, because no one else is going to do it for you. Number 3, letting go of perfection. Know that my Christmas tree is not Pinterest worthy. My kids decorated it. Most of the ornaments are just in one spot. But you know what? It's perfect to me because it represents joy and togetherness, not perfection. It could be for you, could be something else, and seeing on what it means for you. The point of the holidays isn't perfection. It's connection. Peace isn't about controlling everything. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve you. Peace doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to feel right for you. Next, I want you to be able to find joy in small moments. And I want to go deeper into when you talk about joy, right? Because a lot of times we feel as though, like, as soon as we go through this process, as far as working through our feelings, we're supposed to feel this joy afterwards. When you're healing, joy can feel complicated. You might think, how can I feel joy when I'm still hurting? Or maybe you feel guilty for smiling or laughing because it feels like you're ignoring the hard stuff. And a lot of times, we have to realize is that joy and pain can coexist. Like, you don't have to choose one over the other. And I feel like a lot of times we try to feel like we have to do so. And you don't have to be 100% healed to experience joy. You don't have to have it all figured out. And I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have it all figured out when we all are trying to figure it out. You don't have to have it out to laugh or smile or feel grateful for what's going on. And I want you to think about the things that have made you grateful. I know for me, just joy for me that I was grateful for is watching Home Alone with the kids. I mean, I've seen it thousands of times, but the fact that they're so young and there was like even close in when that movie was made, I just was young myself. And so it's just interesting on how they're like laughing and just, cracking up about what's going on inside Home Alone and watching it over and over like I used to. We are taking the time to, I know for me, my little joy is creating. Like, my father growing up would create these different recipes on food. So I just found like different things to cook or to make and just kind of add my own little touch to it to make it a little more healthier, because I'm really been trying to eat just more whole foods and stuff, and those things that bring me joy. And you can find what brings you joy, right? And also sitting down to write this episode and thinking about all of you who are navigating this season with grace, and even if it doesn't feel like it, like those things really bring me joy. And so I just allow myself to have those small moments. So I want you to find your ways, the practical ways to find joy. And I just want to give you some little tips to kind of think about on what that looks like for yourself, because I know it can be really hard to do so when you're in the midst of everything going on. So number one, what I want you to do is I want you to notice the small moments. Joy often hides in the little things, like the way the lights sparkle on the tree, or the sound of laughter, or even the quiet satisfaction of crossing something off your to-do list. Know that you can find those little small moments for yourself, and I hope that even with right now, you can resonate on what is that small moment for yourself that you can feel joy right now in this experience. Number two, let go of all or nothing thinking. You do not have to feel joyful all the time to experience joy. Remember, I keep reiterating this. It's okay to have a moment of laughter in the middle of a hard day. Number three, create your own joy. Whether that's baking cookies, whether it's watching a holiday movie or starting a new tradition, take charge of what that looks like for you. Don't wait for it to find you. Go out and make it happen. If you're waiting for joy just to show up, stop waiting. Joy doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It can be simple as a laugh, a smile, or a moment of stillness. Okay? And next, what I want you to do for this holiday season, I need you to protect that energy. I know we talked about peace before, but I need you to really be able to protect your energy during the holidays. So, that's going to come down to always have your boundaries, because if there is ever a time when boundaries are tested, trust, it's during the holidays. Whether it's family dynamics, social expectations on what you're supposed to do, or just the sheer number of invitations you're getting, this time of year can be overwhelming. Protect your energy is essential, and it starts with setting boundaries that honor your well-being. Right? I think we get so focused on what everyone else wants from us and not focus on what we need for ourselves. So here are just a few quick tips to help you when it comes to honoring your well-being during this holiday as well. Decide for yourself, decide what matters most. Not everything deserves your energy. Focus on the traditions and gatherings that bring you peace and let go of the rest. I need you to have an exit plan, okay? If gathering starts to feel overwhelming, I need you to know what you're going to say with the person you came with or with your kids, or when we're about to go, like when we have to leave. Give yourself permission to leave early or take a breather outside if you need it, because it can feel like a lot, especially you're an introvert. My introverts, I'm with you on that one. And then lastly, they communicate your needs. If someone pushes your boundaries, be direct and kind. Let me fix that again. Be direct but kind, okay? Something like, I appreciate your concern, but this is not what I need right now. Or if someone's asking, because I know they can make really horrible comments sometimes when you're in your family. If it's something you don't want to talk about, it's not something I want to talk about. So, or not something I want to discuss during Christmas. Like, I want you to be able to have those words for yourself in case something goes down where you're feeling like you don't want to talk about it. I just want you to be able to have these little tools in your back pocket that you can be able to use, because I want you to know that saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. And a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to say no to things we don't want to do. So I want you to be able to do that for yourself. But before we wrap up, I want to share something I'm really excited about, which is the Beyond You Collective. This is a membership community I've created for professional women of color to heal, rediscover themselves, and live authentically, not just for themselves, but for the relationships that they build and the people they love. Right? The holidays are a perfect example of why we need spaces like this. I had programs before, memberships before, and I realized on how important the community is, because some of the people that were in the membership in groups, I feel like when they didn't have the support, some people went back to what they knew how, and I want to be able to have that support for you to be able to have these tools. So we're going to have so much in there, lessons when it comes to whether it's boundaries, but more detailed lessons. I'm also not just going to have lessons, but also things like self-talk tracks. I notice that the things that you say to yourself can be really detrimental to you growing and being the person that you want to be. So I want to be able to have like self-talk tracks to be able to just play for yourself when it comes to whether it's dealing with something at work or losing your confidence in a moment, that you can be able to play and just realize that you can have that mindset with you at all times, be able to just have that for you. And so many of us are juggling expectations, emotions, and everything life throws at us, all while trying to figure out who we are and what we need. So the Beyond You Collective is here to help you unpack all that, find clarity, and build a life that feels like yours. If that sounds like something you've been needing, you are going to be able to learn more soon added. I'll put it down in the show notes and we can learn more about Beyond You Collective, because I'm going to be I want to have my founding members at first, and I would love for you to be one of them. But before we go, let me leave you with this. What's one small thing you can do today to protect your peace or create joy for yourself? It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's turning off your phone for an hour, watching a Christmas movie, or just letting yourself sit in the quiet with your thoughts. Whatever it is, give yourself permission to choose you. Thank you for spending part of your Christmas with me. Whether you're feeling full of holiday cheer or you're just trying to make it through the day, I really appreciate you for even just being here. I hope this episode reminds you that you're not alone. But I don't want you to forget, you can grab a Feel to Heal worksheet in the show notes, or you can be able to just allow yourself to simply reflect on what you need this season and beyond. Until next time, take care of yourself, give yourself grace. Remember, peace and joy doesn't have to be perfect. They just have to be real.